The book is called Daemon, An Extraordinary Guide to Your Secret Self by Anthony Peake. There are studies by neuroscientists called split brain studies. And in split brain studies, they've discovered that the human brain has two hemispheres. There's a right side and a left side. And both sides are totally symmetrical, and they're separated by a bundle of axons called the corpus callosum. So why is this even fascinating? Because in these studies, if you inject an anesthesia through one of the carotid arteries that connects to one side of the brain, and you put that side of the brain to sleep, a new personality emerges. So your dominant personality, the person or the consciousness or the personality that you refer to as yourself, is located on the left side. On the right side, there's a mysterious personality, and that's where a lot of creativity, intuition, and innovation comes from. Because you know when you have like an idea or something, or people have premonitions, or these like mysterious things happen in life, and people can't explain how they happen, that all comes from the right side of the brain. If you're aware of the fact that you have a dominant personality, which is on the left side, and you have a secret self, you could call it, on the right side, and you're able to communicate with the right side of your brain better, then you're going to have access to more intuition and more creativity. And not only that, this is the best part. So in the book, Anthony Peake believes in reincarnation, but not reincarnation how most people are familiar with it. The reincarnation he's talking about is déjà vécu, which is having lived many times. So you've heard of déjà vu, which is a specific experience of familiarity. You go through an event and it feels like you've experienced that before. That's déjà vu. But déjà vécu is having lived multiple times. So that is the type of reincarnation that Anthony Peake is suggesting is going on in reality. And so when you die, it's not like you're born again as another animal or another person. You are living the same life that you have right now, but you're living it many, many times, like a video game. And the whole purpose of this game, if you want to call it that, is to live the perfect life. And if you can correct all the mistakes, life after life, you can correct all the mistakes that you've made because you can communicate with your future self, then you will eventually live the perfect life. And when you die, both consciousnesses will wake up to the realization that the two are one, and then you will break the reincarnation cycle and you will level up through the cosmos. But there's also hypnotism. Hypnotism is directly linked to sleepwalking. So just because you have never sleptwalked doesn't matter. There's people out there who sleepwalk. And after they're done sleepwalking, so they're asleep, but then they wake up and they go to the fridge and they eat, or they go out onto the streets and they take a walk, and then they go back to sleep, and then when they wake up, they have no memory of what they were doing. That's sleepwalking. So there's a direct physical link between sleepwalking and hypnosis. In both cases, one side of your brain is asleep and the other is awake. Like the people that sleepwalk, a lot of them go to the fridge and they eat, even though in real life they don't have eating disorders or anything. But when they sleepwalk, they'll go to the fridge and they'll start eating things out of the fridge. So what the hell is that? That is evidence that you are two people in one. So, I mean, like people throughout history who have claimed that they hear voices that told them to do things or to go on certain missions in life, they are communicating with their future selves. By the way, in the book, Anthony Peake calls the future self the Daemon. You have to read the book to find out why he calls it that. And he calls the everyday self, the personality that you operate through every day, he calls that the Edalon. And like I said, you have to read the book to find out why he gave them those names. But I thought it was fascinating because he also talks about how people who have epileptic seizures have higher levels of glutamate in the brain, and those are the people that experience deja vu and premonitions and visions of the future the most is people who experience epileptic seizures or migraines. So it's not just philosophical, wishy-washy, new agey concepts that we're talking about here. There's like actual physical, scientific basis for all this stuff. I just noticed this synchronicity. I mean, I don't even know if this is correct, but it's something that I noticed, is that the word influence, it's in the book, but like I don't think that he put two and two together, or maybe he did, or maybe by accident, I don't know, but like the word influence may come from the word invisible fluid, and invisible fluid comes from magnetism, because the person who discovered hypnotism was this guy named Mesmer, and that's where we get the word mesmerism from. He believed that the universe was filled with magnetism, and especially the human body, and ailments and illnesses arise from disruptions in your electromagnetic field, in your magnetism. And he was doing experiments on a bum, a homeless drunk, and he was trying to mess with his magnetism. It's also, that's where the word animal magnetism comes from, like people who just have like an attractive magnetic personality, have a lot of healthy magnetism, and they can influence people. That's where that word comes from, in invisible fluid. So you can start to put all these, connect the dots right here. And so the guy who Mesmer, he put this bum to sleep. He was trying to cure this bum of some illnesses. And what happened is the bum went into like this waking sleep hypnosis. He went into this like waking sleep, and he did anything that he was asked to do. But when he came out of the treatment, he didn't remember doing any of it. So that's the first person to be hypnotized, and now the rest is history. And I encourage you guys to investigate this stuff more, because it's a huge topic that I can't fit into just like one video. But I'll make more on these. And this is just to give you a little appetizer about the fact that we are two consciousnesses living in one brain or body, and then it brings up so many other questions, like where are you even located? Because you have your senses and all this stuff that's bringing in information to your brain, but your brain, by the time you make sense of everything, it's already been buffered and reorganized so many different times that it's not equivalent to the raw footage. And so there really is no raw footage. It's all encryption. So, I mean, it's just like there's all this information right now, right here. But if I don't have an internet connection and I don't have a computer to decode all this information, I'm not going to see nothing. I'm not going to see anything. So, the more you know about these concepts, the better that you can communicate with your future self, and the better you can communicate with your future self, the better your life is going to be, because you'll have more direction, you'll have more insight, you'll be able to make better choices, decisions, you'll just have a way to live the perfect life and get out of this incarnation cycle, reincarnation cycle. So, I've barely scratched the surface with what I've talked about here in the video, but I encourage you to investigate split brain theory, future selves, Anthony Peake, deja vu, the holographic universe, and just keep the learning journey going.